Well, hello everybody. It is March 8th today. This is going to be episode 3 of my Hive to Table series. I guess the subtitle to this episode is going to be Autopsy Day. It's a beautiful day. It's in the 50s, middle upper 50s. Light wind, not too bad at all. Bees are out flying around. Been into the colonies. I do have a little bit of good news. I'm up to actually 6 colonies that are alive. So that's putting me right around the 28% survivability. Still below the national average, but within the standard deviation. Nothing to be proud of, but at least not as quite as disappointing as I thought. Anyways, today I'm going to start going through some colonies, and we'll see if we can understand maybe what killed these bees. Okay, looks like I'm in frame. Maybe a little bit of my head's missing. So without even going into this colony, I can already tell you it was dead by December. Both the upper and the lower box easily weighs 15 pounds. So they're 50 pounds or more each. So they are plenty full of honey. That's a full honey sewer, and that's really all I'm going to find up here. So I'm just going to quickly pull these out, give them a quick look. Honey, nothing but honey. No signs of bees being up here at all. So I'm already starting to think that since these bees were dead by December, I found my first dead bees. I'll show them to you. That this might have been a late season swarm. It was so warm in September and October and November. The bees might have swarmed, and without a queen, they're not going to make it through. They're not going to requeen that late in the year. There's some dead bees. They're sticking their heads into the comb. I'm going to have to look up for sure what I think that means, but I don't think that means starving. There's a few more dead bees. A little bit of moisture in here, so they could have gotten wet, and moisture kills bees quickly. But that's really hard to tell. So anyways, I've seen enough of that box, so I'm going to just move it out of the way. Probably start using it to move some of these other bee frames into, kind of get this cleaned up a bit, make it a little easier to work on. Got to make sure to save that wax. I'm going to have to be waxing a lot of bee frames this year. Let's see what we can do if I pull out a colony, pull out a comb. All right, so that one's empty. Oh, there's a little bit of dead brood in there. Pollen, honey, old dead brood, not a lot. Not a lot. By the way, I'm pulling out of the middle because most likely that is where the bees are. A little bit more dead brood. A little bit more dead brood. I don't really see dead larvae. If the colony as the colony shrinks, they could easily have not had enough worker bees to clean that brood out. Yeah, a little bit. Maybe some chalk brood in there. There's no way you're going to pick it up. It's going to be picked up on the camera. So I'm seeing a little bit of chalk brood in there. Not deadly to a healthy colony. But this is not a healthy colony. Wet nectar, so they were bringing in some sugar water late in the year. And now just a whole lot more honey. Yeah, dead bees everywhere. I'll try and see if we can't get this in frame. Maybe you can see in there. But the bottom is just covered with dead bees. Looking for mites. And the mites, once the bees die, the mites will fall off. So you would expect them down at the bottom. And I'm really just not seeing any. I don't think it was mites, folks. I think that this colony swarmed late. And that's what did it in. Okay, folks, on to the next colony. This is the Enel. Well, not near as heavy as the one I just was in. It's still pretty heavy, heavy enough that I suspect this one too was dead probably in December. And I would suspect the exact same reasons. Let's see if we can't get this first frame out without destroying it. But it sure doesn't want to come out. You may be wondering, since these are so heavy, if I could use this, if it's honey, and if I could just separate it and sell it. Well, the answer is yes, I could separate it. You can see another full comb, practically full comb. There's, this weighs 10 pounds, 8 pounds. So yeah, I could separate it. I could decap it. I could spin it out. I could separate it, but I'm not going to. Even though the honey's perfectly good, I don't know for sure that it's actually honey. There's some pollen in there. Pollen, some dead bees, obviously. They didn't get this one fully drawn out. I'm probably going to have to work on that one this spring. But anyways, because I do feed sugar water in the spring and a little bit in the fall, I don't know how much of this honey is from nectar and how much of it's sugar water. So I'm not going to sell it. I'm not even going to spin it out. I'm going to leave it for the bees. So now they're dead in the comb. And I know that means something, and I'm going to have to look it up. A little bit of brood. Let's knock these bees off. A little bit of brood, not much, very dead. I think those ladies were at the end of their cluster size. It's a very small cluster. More dead bees, more brood. I think they were trying to, the cluster had really shrunk, and they were trying to keep that brood warm and just couldn't do it. But they're definitely in the top box. So they've moved up from the bottom box to the top box. I'm not saying that's good or bad, it's just an observation. More dead bees. Empty comb. They'd moved up. They might have got to the top and run out of food. That led them to starve. I did in December. I think on this one, don't know for sure, that I put some fondant on top so they could get to it if they wanted it. So more empty comb. Yeah, these girls definitely might have starved to death. Even though there's sugar in there, they might not, honey in there, they just might not have been able to get to it. So this might be a legitimate starve out colony. There's some wet nectar. Alright, let's see, what do I need to do to get the top box off? It's ready to come off. And, I mean, there's still some good weight there. But the weight's on the side. Bees don't move side to side, they move up and down. So even if there was food there, they just might not have got to it. Empty. A lot of pollen. A lot of pollen. Might be able to use that somewhere. Empty. 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 For the most part, empty. Again, I'm not going to pull these out, but more empty. Or partially empty. Here on the outside, they're not so empty. But again, they're on the outside. That doesn't really do the bees that much good, other than it does provide maybe some protection from the elements. A lot of dead bees on the bottom. So pull this apart. See, again, lots and lots of dead bees. I think these ladies just starved, and as they starved, they fell to the bottom and died. Though I am actually already seeing quite a few mites. A lot more than I did in any of the other colonies I've looked at so far. So this might be a combination. Yeah, there's more mites. This might be a combination of food, lack of energy, lack of good nutrition, and disease from the mites. Yeah, so that's this one. Today I evaluated 4 colonies, but the videos of the additional 2 are really just more of the same. So what did I learn? Well, one was likely dead before December. Perhaps it swarmed in late September or October due to the warm weather, in which case it just would not have survived. That leaves 3 to understand. Well, there were a few mites found in all of them, and one had more than the others. None were really infested. So what is killing my bees? Well, I think the only true answer today is I don't know, and I don't think anybody else knows either. Whatever it is nationwide, and somehow it is affecting all bees everywhere at once, which seems odd if it's caused by a disease. Most diseases move from the source of origin outward over time, as illustrated in this time lapse for the spread of chronic wasting disease in deer. Now, bees, cultured bees, are a little bit different in the fact that most of us beekeepers buy our bees in the springtime that are reared in the south part of the country, Florida, Georgia, South Texas, California. So if that disease was present in all of those locations, it would have spread rapidly last spring. Regardless of what is causing this die off, it has happened to the industry before. The industry has always recovered. Answers are found, mitigation strategies are developed, and the bee business continues to thrive. When I shot my first video in this series, 2 weeks ago now, only I thought at that time only 4 colonies survived. However, now we're up to 6. And it is interesting that 4 of the survival colonies were in the enamel insulated hive bodies and only 2 in the wooden hive bodies. Not enough to be conclusive, but this result may indicate that insulation does make a difference, and it would also indicate to a degree that the temperatures that we saw in January and February were significant. So what am I going to do? I can only control what I can control. Nutrition, quality queens, more aggressive mite mitigation strategy, and perhaps I won't push the colonies so late into the fall. But now my energy must turn towards recovery, which will be the focus of the upcoming videos. Well, I was hoping to leave you all with a nice little version of I'd like to teach the world to sing. I have bees, I have apple trees, now I just need snow white turtle doves. Anyways, folks, until next time, appreciate you watching. Peace out.